laser glove, throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the nose. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick, we are back. It's been a little while. And so long that at the beginning of this we had a little bit of issues with your video feed, but I think we're okay again. Maybe not. We'll see. But nonetheless, hopefully everyone can hear you. We're watching some Reds baseball here live. You're gonna get obsessed, I'm sure, with maybe the little ticker down there in regards to trying to keep updated on the Cubs and Reds spring training game. I am locked into the DR and PR game in the World Baseball Classic because I don't know if you got a chance to see, Nick. I guess I'll start asking you that question. I know that's down on the list. It's halfway in WBC World Baseball Classic, but did you get a chance to watch much of this game between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Saw Alexis Diaz kind of get out of a big jam, get a double play to Machado, and then get Devers on a weak pop-up. So that was pretty cool to see. It seems like most of the Reds pitchers have been very amped up in the World Baseball Classic. A lot of walks, a lot of walks, but they have limited the damage, and it'll be interesting to see are those guys ahead of schedule. I would assume they're probably a little bit ahead of schedule when the season starts.
Definitely,
but I hope they don't wear down as the season goes on.
Well, I not to be pessimistic, I don't know from a Red standpoint if we need to worry about Red guys wearing down per se this year. So we'll take a midseason form if they're early. If they're ready to go midseason form on day one, I'm not going to worry about the burnout on the back end this year. Brian, lure up. What's going on, guys? As usual, if you pop your questions in the chat from time to time, I'm sure we'll get to them. Let's just start off right from the rip. We'll get to roster cuts. I know it was a little disappointing the other day to a certain extent. I don't know how else to put it. You got guys that are playing really, really well. You're excited to hopefully maybe they'll make the opening day roster. But I think it goes back to really quickly the point that I was trying to make when we first started this show was there needs to be reasonable expectations. We can't try to get ahead of ourselves and start to think that just because guys were playing well for 30 to 40 at-bats in Goodyear, Arizona, that somehow it's unbelievable travesty that these guys are starting in Louisville, which not to get side tangent, but we got to figure out at some segment throughout the 162 games this year, I do want to figure out exactly how you say Louisville. Do you say it Louisville? Do you say it Louisville? Is it just Louisville? Say it as fast as you can. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, you get the point. But there's some roster cuts, Nick. Not to set you up here with a softball question, but how disappointed were you? Because I know that there's a lot of those names that got cut, and cut's a strong word, but got sent to reassignment were some of your favorite names.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ellie De La Cruz, that's completely reasonable to send him down. I can't fault the Reds for that. I would have loved to have seen Christian Encarnacion Strand on the opening day roster, but at the same time, how much playing time was he going to get? And the most important thing for these young guys is that they're playing every day. I'm shocked that Joey Votto looks like he's going to be on the opening day roster. I guess we shouldn't be shocked with anything from Joey Votto at this point. Right. But yeah, I mean, everything makes sense. I had the Pirates AAA radio guy on earlier in camp, and he said no way I would put Christian Encarnacion straight on the opening day roster. So I think the moves are all reasonable. I don't know if we can really be too upset about any of them. It's fine to be disappointed. I'm a little disappointed, even if I think it's the right move. I can't wait to see these guys. I want to see these guys play, but the most important thing is that they're ready when they come up. The last thing you want to do is have a guy come up and really struggle, and you have to send him back down, because then that's a lose-lose situation for everyone, and you can hurt a guy's confidence. And
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hear you on that. I know that you somewhat know my opinion on this. I don't buy into that as much as everyone else does. These guys have been playing baseball for a long time. The modern day athlete is much more been through a strenuous testing than maybe the 20-year ago athlete. And I'm not trying to say that those guys weren't as good, if not better, 20 years ago. I'm just saying that the youth baseball is at a much higher level than it's ever been. These guys have played against the highest of competition. If CES is out here doing what he was doing in spring training, and you really needed a guy, that's what this all comes back to for me. If you really needed CES, let's say you had a team that you thought was going to win 95 games, or they were going to be in a pennant race, and let's say Joey Votto, for whatever reason, wasn't ready to go. He was their best option. I genuinely think he would be on their opening day roster. The situation at hand, though, is not that. It's, one, people might not like to say this, but it's service time. I think it's a little bit of service time. Coupled that with the idea that it's Joey Votto's last year, and hell would have to freeze over for Joey Votto to be somewhat healthy and not play in his last opening day as a Red. So I'm okay with it, and I'm not saying you don't have a point. I'm just saying that I don't really want this notion of everyone saying the reason we sent him down was because we want to keep his confidence. I think you should lean heavily on your first point. We want him to play every day. We want him to get at bats. And the second point is he's not a necessity right now to compete for anything of value. So combine those two things, and that's why he got sent down, because he's the best player the Reds have had in the spring. Let's not mix it up. And would you agree with that? Like, is there any argument that he's not clearly the best player that's played in the spring for the Reds? So the idea that if we were trying to play real competitive baseball, him being left out is moronic. But I get why they did it, to be clear.
Yeah, he's the best player of anyone in baseball this spring. The other one point I would want to make is, it's not like the Reds are playing a bunch of old dudes all over the diamond. Like they have Spencer Steer playing at third base. They have Jose Barrero at shortstop. They have Jonathan India at second base. They have Tyler Stevenson at catcher. TJ Friedl is young. Will Benson just got in the big leagues at the end of last year. So as they're trying to mix and match and see what they got, they're just letting these guys see what they got first.
Yep.
And these other guys are going to get their chance. I would have a lot bigger issue if we had a bunch of old veterans, that a Marlon Byrd playing left field, or someone like that. Whereas the Reds, Will Myers and Joey Votto are the only two really established big leaguers on this, and that's just to kind of have some kind of veteran leadership. And we know about Myers and the potential to maybe flip him at the deadline and things like that. So I would just focus more on the young players that are going to be here. Let's see what they got. If they don't have it, well, then you got other guys that can take their spot. And I think that's healthy for an organization, to have that like competition from different levels. That, hey, there's a dude right behind you, and there's a dude right behind him, and you can keep filtering these guys through if they don't perform.
Yeah, hopefully they win at the AAA level. I think that's important too, and I don't know how much. How well developed that roster is in Louisville. I know they're going to actually have some additions that are going to probably help down there, but I would like to see that young core group of players that we continue to talk about. I hope they get a chance to win, and they play meaningful baseball, and they get used to winning together, and then they come up and they expect to win. And we've talked about that. I think that's probably the biggest advantage the St. Louis Cardinals have had on the rest of the Central Division for years, is that organization expects to win. Brian in the chat says that he's hearing Myers hasn't looked good in the outfield. Is that true? I have not gotten an opportunity to see Myers a whole lot, but he's like an established big leaguer. I don't know, Kirby, I don't know how much stock you put into that, but I mean, at some point when you're an established big leaguer, spring training it reminds me of like the driving range for a guy like Rory McIlroy. It's like, okay, he's not hitting the ball well at the driving range, and then he goes out and shoots a 67, and everybody like, well, that was the driving range. Who cares? And then to be fair to you, Brian, though, if Rory were to come out and shoot a 77, then all of a sudden it was the driving range. So I don't know how much stock do you put into that, Kirby? Is that a fair assessment?
I wouldn't put any stock in Myers. I'd maybe be a little more concerned about Steer. I think he has 3 errors. Will Myers had really, really good StatCast numbers defensively last year. I'd put much more stock in what he did over a full season in a bigger ballpark than he's going to play than Great American Ballpark in San Diego. He had really good numbers. He's really sneaky fast and athletic. He doesn't look like a guy that runs well, but he's has one of the better sprint speeds on a team that overall we've talked a lot about how that's been a big improvement for this team. So I really wouldn't worry about his defense in right field. And if he is poor, well, the Reds have the Reds DH most nights is going to be another outfielder, so they could swap out Fraley for Myers, but I think he'll be fine.
Mike Trout just tatered a ball to right center field for a triple for the USA, just so you know. That's for the folks that are trying to keep track of 2 games at once. USA guy on third, 1 out against Colombia.
Did Puerto Rico end, or did they move that to another channel?
I do believe it ended. I hope it ended, right? Maybe they didn't. Did they just move that to another channel? If they did that, that's a wild move. It is. They moved it to FS2. That's crazy.
Like maybe they should have staggered these games. They don't have a pitch clock.
No, dude. How do you?
They're gonna go.
With all due respect, I love the United States of America. In fact, it's my favorite team, believe it or not. However, with all due respect, Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic is a much farther better product in the 7th or 8th inning than Colombia versus the United States in the first. But I digress.
One more point on Will Myers, because my guy AJ's killing me on this. Will Myers was 86th percentile in outs above average last year. So I don't know, man. The numbers say he was a really, really good defensive right fielder. I didn't watch him play every night, so I gotta trust the numbers on that one. But usually the StatCast data for outfielders is usually pretty solid. I think.
Yeah, Carrick brings up, and I don't know if you were listening earlier, Carrick. He says, I don't think service time had anything to do with the cuts. Green, Lodolo, India, Stevenson, and Diaz weren't kept down. I don't think that the Reds make a habit of service time. I'm just saying when you have a couple excuses mounting in the direction of sending a guy down, the service time, in my opinion, isn't anything to slouch at. Like it adds to the flavor. It adds to the idea of making it worth it to send a guy down. Like I said before, I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse here, but listen, Joey Votto is going to play first base if he's healthy, whether he's good or not. And I love Joey Votto. I'm not trying to make it sound as if he shouldn't play every day. Joey Votto's position, it's his position. He's going to play every day if he's healthy, regardless of what happens. Unless he absolutely is terrible and he's hitting, less than 100 at the All-Star break, Joey Votto's not losing his job. So, as Kirby mentioned, you got to play if you want to get better, and CES got sent down so he could play, which is fair by me. Any other things that you want to add on from the roster cuts perspective before we move on? The Bally Sports thing's pretty cool. I don't know what it's probably not cool to the Castellinis or that ownership
Definitely
group,
not.
but it's cool to me. I actually think it's pretty awesome because it's forcing the hand of Major League Baseball. It's also forcing the hand of really these sports networks, if you will, to try to figure out what's the best avenue to deliver baseball as a product. So, I'm all for it. But you got an opportunity to talk to the guy that broke the news or broke the story on Bally, and MLB, I think, decided to make the games free. Correct?
Well, there's still some confusion and up in arms about that. Bally, now granted, Bally's filing for bankruptcy, so I'm not sure I'm gonna believe every word they said, but they claim that they're gonna broadcast the games until
Another option.
until this is resolved, till the bankruptcy, which I think is 45 days.
Right.
The most important thing, and I think the most exciting thing, is it sounds like at some point this year, may not be on opening day, it may be, halfway through the season, but at some point there's going to be a standalone service to watch the Cincinnati Reds if you are in the Cincinnati market for about $15 a month. And that's an incredible win for Reds fans.
Yeah.
people who've cord cut, and you first episode we did, you were talking about this. MLB's got to find a better way to get their product out there, and
They
so
do.
it might be ugly. We may not know how you're going to watch the Reds on opening day until opening day.
Right.
It may be a free stream. You may still have to purchase Bally. Opening
day will be on the local channel. But
that's true.
But
I guess
beyond
the second game.
Yeah, opening night, as the marketing team calls it. Opening night. Let's make opening night a big thing. It's like, it's a good try, but it's not going to work. So, yeah, I mean, Bally Sports, hell, I seen Lure Up brings up perfect timing for Chatterbox to step in. We're not trying to sell us short, but we got a little ways to go. We got to go one step at a time. We're doing some Miami baseball. For those that don't know, we got an opportunity to do some Miami Red Hawk baseball. Never say never. I'm not going to say never, but hopefully we get an opportunity, like you said, Kirby, to pay $15 a month. We can watch the games. It's not a pain in the tail to try to figure out where to watch it or how to watch it. You're pirating, or you're asking people for their DirecTV or their cable logins because you don't have cable, or you're trying to get a VPN for MLB.TV. You hear all the crazy stuff I'm saying right now just to try to watch a baseball game. So my point is pretty much right there in the details of what I was explaining. Anything? Let's jump into a question here before we get to the WBC. I'm going to jump through a couple of these comments. Brian, another question he had was, who, if any, relievers would surprise someone who hasn't been up yet, but likely will be up? Okay, let me read that again. Who, if any, relievers could surprise us from someone that hasn't been up yet that could eventually work their way up and be up?
Ricky Karcher would be the guy. He was just optioned in the minors, so it doesn't sound like he's going to be on the opening day roster, but he's got some ridiculously good stuff. Really bad command, though, so yeah. We'll see on him. I'm not sure, person asking that question, if they followed spring training all that close, but Alex Young has looked really, really good in spring as a left-handed option. Kind of the guy that when the Reds signed him, I was like, how did they get this guy on a minor league deal? Because if you looked at his 22 numbers, they were really good. They gave like a mid-2 ERA. The peripheral numbers match that. I have no clue how the Reds got him on a minor league deal, but I was like, hey, this guy's worth a shot. And so far in camp, I think he has an ERA in the low 2s. It's on the bottom bar somewhere going across there. But yeah, I think he's a guy that could really be a great complement to Reiver Sanmartin as a second lefty, because Reiver Sanmartin for most of the year was the only decent left-handed pitcher the Reds had, and they got exposed a little bit with that, I think.
Leave it to Reed Mouse to troll in the comments already. I
was just about to, if you talked about Miami, I was about to say what a great job he's doing, and then he always just has to find a way to troll back.
I mean, maybe he's not trolling, but I just know Reed Mouse well enough to know he's asking if Alexis Diaz is on the PR roster.
You know damn he well know
he watched, and
he
here's
was
what I got
locked
to say.
Into that game.
Who's their catcher? Is it Monado? Who's the PR's catcher?
Give me a minute here.
Well, you pull that up. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go to some other things. Alex Wallace asked, Trace is a business owner. Utilize ad revenue. Your thoughts on the Reds or other teams can make enough money to new channels streaming. I mean, listen, we're a small organization. I've thought through the streaming and the TV rights and how you can try to make all of that math, if you will, make sense. The financial perspective makes sense. I've said for a really long time that the math for how much money these players were getting paid from a guaranteed perspective in regards to Major League Baseball as a whole, couple that with the amount of viewership that Major League Baseball was getting and the avenue in which they were delivering the product, none of it made sense. It didn't make any sense. So there was this bubble that was bubbling up, and it's finally going to burst here with Bally taking the hit because they made a miscalculation thinking that they were going to be able to try to get enough eyeballs on a product that was streamed or not streamed, not streamed at all, actually, sent through the cable network packages. Here's my thought on the whole thing. And I'm more of a believer in making sure your product is easily accessible and seen. It's been clear as day that that's the best long-term approach you can take for your brand. Now, that's easy for me to say because that's not the way that you obtain the most money the fastest. It's a long tail, a long-term play to try to start garnering viewership. And I think the NFL is actually going to be the first ones to do it, believe it or not. But I do believe in this idea of trying to create a Fortnite type approach. And I've said this before on the show, and I don't want to keep saying things over and over again because people are tired of hearing the same things from Trace. Listen, I think you can create an MLB.TV that they already have and get rid of the blackouts, and then also try to really, really dig into YouTube TVs of the world and YouTubes of the world and make sure you have a plethora of your biggest talent that you have in the sport free to watch every day. It doesn't have to be the same team, but there needs to be somewhere that somebody can just go on YouTube every night. If I'm an 8-year-old kid, I can get on YouTube every night, and there's a game of the day from Major League Baseball on YouTube, not YouTube TV. You don't have to have subscription service. It's free. You got to find a way to put the product in front of people's eyes as easily as possible. Now, again, I don't know if that'll ever happen because it's almost like you're not getting the quick dollar from that perspective. And a lot of times these commissioners and ownership groups, they're not in it for the long term, right? Like if you're the Castellinis, do you really care if Major League Baseball is doing well in 40 years, 30 years? Probably not. You could give a rat's tail because it's not going to affect you. So I digress. I think it could work if they just go all in on a streaming service and get rid of the blackouts. They already have the platform. Nick, you're on it. You're not in market, so you've got to use this multiple times. I've said it from day one. If you haven't had MLB.TV or you've never used the MLB app, it's like it might be the best app in all of sports. Nick, am I overshooting that?
No, it's a huge advantage if you live out of market. I mean, I've lived in Cleveland since 2013, and yeah, I mean, just you can listen to your home audio or the radio if you want synced up with it. You can pull up the live stats on your phone while you're watching the game or your iPad. Put it on your TV. Yeah, it's a really quality product. I do think that the blackouts, baseball gets like the most flack for it, but like the NBA and the NHL have the exact same blackout rules. But I think for some reason baseball's the one who always gets like pooed on for it. But yeah, I agree though. They do need to find a solution. And Brian asked the question, will the streaming setup be a permanent way to watch the Reds game or a temporary solution? I'm going to plug the podcast I did. Listen to that this morning because there was a lot of really good insight into that. But part of it was what they're going to do now is going to be a temporary solution. But from my conversation with Josh, streaming in market at some sort of way just to view your team is going to happen long term. And Alex was right on it. It may be on Apple TV Plus. It may be on Amazon. They'll try to sell that. The Yankees actually did that last year. I don't know if I assume a lot of Reds fans probably didn't follow that, but the Yankees had in-market games on Amazon Prime Video last year, select games. That was not that was not part of the cable package. They were exclusive to that, which I know made a lot of Yankees fans in the New York market, and which is a huge all of New York upset. But yeah, if you had an Amazon subscription, you could just put the Yankees on in market. And I think that's something like that's going to happen for every market relatively soon.
This is a Red show. Alex Walsh is in here breaking news in the chat, though. Tom Pacello 5 minutes ago says, sources, 4-time Pro Bowl tackle and Super Bowl champion Orlando Brown Jr. is finalizing a 4-year, $64 million front-loaded deal with the Cincinnati Bengals that includes $31 million signing bonus. So there's one tackle for you Bengal fans that are watching right now. So get excited about that. Let me go back to my point with Alexis Diaz. I had a severe issue with the way in which that whole pitch selection went, we're going into a rain delay for the Reds, so you're not going to miss anything there. Edwin Diaz is very good too. Yes, I'm not even going to pin the two up against each other. However, what I'm trying to say is that the score was, and off the top of my head, I think it was 4-1, maybe 5-1.
5-1, I think.
And listen, like, even the announcer was like giving too much respect to this lineup. I mean, it's maybe the best lineup that's ever been assembled in the history of baseball, so I'm not downplaying it by any means. But listen, when you're up 4 to 5-1, you know, you're on the, like, if I, as a pitcher, I feel like you're on the offense. Like, it almost looked like he was very, very, very nervous, and he felt like he was in a huge, huge spot, which for that country and for that game he is. Let's not downplay it. But I don't really like trying to throw like 4 or 5. Put it this way, I was not happy with it being a 2-1 count, I think, Kirby, maybe 3-1, and we're trying to throw a slider. It's like, listen, challenge the guy. Let him hit the ball out of the ballpark. If he can take your 97 mile an hour, 95, 97 mile an hour fastball and hit it out of the ballpark, then tip your cap to him. But I felt like he pitched, you know, he's pitching around guys to a certain extent. He was a little bit nervous. Thankfully, Manny Machado, you know, rolled over a fastball that was right down the middle, if we're being completely honest, into a double play. That's the one weird thing about baseball, not to get off to a side tangent, Kirby, but you always hear at the end of games like, I made one bad pitch. It's because a guy hit a home run, you know. It's like, I made one bad pitch. It's like, no, you probably made some other bad pitches. The hitters just didn't capitalize on them. Manny Machado missed a golden opportunity. He got a fastball right down the middle, and he rolled over into a double play. But I digress. So I don't even blame Diaz. I like to blame the catcher in that situation, probably because he's not a Red. So
Puerto Rico did win. Puerto Rico did win 5-2, and as I see in our chat, I pulled up on Twitter. Edwin Diaz was helped off the field, not putting any weight on his right leg after getting hurt in the celebration. So,
wow,
yeah, that's
he got hurt in the celebration. Yeah. That's like Ted Ginn Jr. type stuff. That's
people are coming at me for not wanting Hunter Green on the roster.
Nah,
like,
it's not even,
I don't want to risk this stuff, man.
The crazy thing is I can't even make that a part of my argument. I mean, I argue that guys are going to get hurt when they're actually playing the game. This guy got hurt celebrating. Because the opposite argument, Kirby, that I would make to someone that's like, you can't be in the World Baseball Classic. It's like, well, if he wasn't in the World Baseball Classic, he could have been getting in the car to go to a workout and got in a car accident or something. Like, we can all play the hypothetical game to a certain extent. Now, that said, I don't want any of my big-time players playing in the World Baseball Classic unless it becomes a very popular thing, and I think it can benefit the sport. I don't know if it's there yet, but that's a tough break for Diaz. No pun intended. Hopefully, it didn't break anything. I'm not trying to be funny. What else we got here? I know on the list we got the starting rotation. I'll keep an eye on the chat, but for now, I think you got like a little starting rotation here thing, Kirby, that you want to throw up.
Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of what the rotation looks like now. Obviously, we know Green is going to be starting opening day. Lodolo and Ashcraft, games 2 and 3. It seems like Luke Weaver, as long as he's healthy, will have the number 4 spot locked down. And it seems like Luis Cessa is probably going to be the number 5 starter. And I think Brandon Williamson is waiting in the wings if one of these guys slip up.
He hasn't looked great.
But that's no, he hasn't. Weaver hasn't looked great either, but I think the Reds are more willing to just give Weaver a shot because, you know, he's an established pitcher at this point. Well, I mean, as established as you can be for a guy that, you know, signed on a $2 million deal. But I think they're more willing just to give him a shot. They want to see they're paying him, you know, for this year only. Williamson hasn't even made his MLB debut, so I think Weaver's going to have a lot better opportunity. And Carrick asked, how is Weaver? He got hurt in a minor league game a couple days ago. They're just, I guess, still evaluating him. I didn't really get a good sense from what I read if it was, super severe or not. But that's kind of where things stand with him.
Well, for those that are concerned on the back end of this rotation, you probably have every right to be, but I don't know. I don't know if we should go down this path yet. I don't know if I care, is what I'm getting at. I really don't know if I do. I guess I'm being is it being pessimistic or optimistic? I don't really know, because I'm in the mindset of just like, listen, those guys could be terrible, they could be great, but at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to a lot of bats games, and I'm going to pay attention to what these guys are going to do at the major league level that are going to be a part of the future. Is Stevenson going to stay healthy? Can he bounce back? Is India going to bounce back? What do we do if India starts playing really, really well? We've talked about that before. So I'm not going to bog myself down about, if Luke Weaver doesn't throw the ball that well, or Sessa or Brandon Williams. Now Brandon Williamson's a guy that's a little different for me, because if he can figure it out and he does start to bounce back, then you could say, okay, we might hang our hat on him going forward. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but is Sessa ever going to be a part of the mix? No disrespect.
Sessa and Weaver are just filler guys, and they're fine at that role right now. There's nothing wrong with those guys. They're decent. Overton, Anderson, they're all just filler guys, for the back end until guys like Connor Phillips, guys like Andrew Abbott, farther down the line, guys like Chase Petty work their way up to the big leagues. But yeah, I would definitely, I want to see Williamson. If he's not on the opening day roster, I definitely want to see him make his debut this year. He's, I think, 25 years old. It's time for him to get up to the big leagues and see what he's got. Again, I don't think he has to be on the opening day roster, but if he's not on the roster by midseason, I would be very disappointed with, with kind of his development and where he's at.
Can you put yourself into a Mets fan's shoes for just like 10 seconds?
I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I know, but dude, you know how pissed off I'd be right now. God,
yeah,
listen, man, Reds and 4 said he left in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
dude,
that's insane. What?
Anyway, okay, let's jump into really quickly opening day lineup. It's one of those situations where, again, at the beginning of this whole thing, you were banking on the fact that maybe Joey Votto wasn't going to be available. Looks like he's going to be. Game got rained out. He hit 2 balls hard. First ball he hit, I don't know how hard it actually was, but it looked hard because he about took the hat off the pitcher. I don't know. I'm sure we could get the StatCast on all that. However, that's one thing that's still going to piss me off about the shift thing. It's like, yeah, they got rid of the rules of the shift, but these dudes are still standing behind second base. It's like if you hit a ball, again, this is where maybe I'm just like old school thinking, and I'm not in the majority here. And yeah, you can hit it somewhere else because they're not standing there. But if you hit a ball and you damn near take the pitcher's head off, it's a line drive and it short hops the outfield, it should be a hit. It should be a hit, and it wasn't. But he came up the next time and he poked one where the traditional shortstop would be. So I guess it all evened out in that situation. But India hit a ball hard down the line. Stevenson hit a homer the other day. I'm trying to think of positive things to say about each guy going down the lineup. But most exciting thing that you're excited for in this lineup is what?
Just the youth, I guess. You like I said, you only have 2 guys that are really established big leaders. There's a lot of guys that have a lot to prove in a season where the main goal is figuring out who's the part of the next great Reds team. Hopefully all 9 of these guys, sorry to Myers and Votto, they won't be, but hopefully 7 of these guys are.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think this is probably pretty close to what the opening day lineup will be. If you've paid attention to the last couple spring training games, not all of these guys have been in the lineup, but this is kind of the spots where David Bell's had them. It seems like that's kind of what he's looking at. And then I also have here the left-handed pitching lineup as well.
Yeah.
If I can get that up. Maybe not.
I feel like you had it.
Did I?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, it's titled wrong at the top.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
just had
I
title
was
wrong. Yep. But, I mean, I don't know. Fairchild's one of those guys where his swing just, I don't know if I like it, but it's so timing based. It's like, hey, but maybe it works for him. I'm sure that if Gary Sheffield rolled up here and I seen him for the very first time ever, I'd probably be like, that guy is going to be able to hit like that. And sure enough, Gary Sheffield figured it out. Guys like Hunter Pence figured out a way to be successful in this league for a long time. So just because the way you look doesn't always mean that you're going to have a bad career or a good career. Jumping back here into the comments, Carrick Melvin says, what do you do at the trade deadline if CES, EDLC, and McLean are tearing a AAA up? Do you trade India? And we've talked about this on other shows before, and it's going to sound like we don't like that guy, and that's not it at all. But I've said it for the longest time. I like selling high and buying low, if that's a thing. And India is one of those guys where if he's playing really, really well this year, and those guys below him are playing really, really well, I'm willing to bet on the idea that that you're going to be able to get a good amount in return for India, which is the only way I would trade him, to be very clear. He's not on the trading block. It's not like I'm shopping him around right now. I'm not trying to, he might be the next great Reds player for the next 15 years, and people might clip up what I'm about to say. I'm just pointing out the obvious, that is, someone's not going to have a spot to play the infield if a few of these guys pan out. And it's really not even like that many, right? I mean, we could go through the whole laundry list of names, but one guy that never gets brought up that could end up being a great player too is Edwin Arroyo. Like, I mean, Jose Barrero could come out here and start tearing the cover off the baseball, and McLean could continue to do what he's doing, and then you got Marte, and what do you do? And I would lead myself to believe that the person you're going to get the most in return for, your best bang for your buck, your highest value, is going to be India, because you're just not going to get that out of unproven big leaguers, right? Even as good as we think. And what's funny is I mentioned all those names, I didn't even bring up EDLC. So, I mean, it is kind of wild right now that we're in a position that we have this many infielders. I just think it's going to work itself out. I don't want to sit here and keep coming up with these crazy theories. It'll work itself out. One or two of these guys won't pan out. They'll get hurt. But I do think India's on the trading block. Nick, do you agree at the trade deadline if he's playing really, really well, and for whatever reason these guys below him are playing really, really well too? It'd have to be the perfect storm. I'm not trying to say it's probable.
I think it probably will work itself out. I think there'll be plenty of playing time to go around. One of Votto or Stevenson gets hurt, you have first base, that DH spot opened up. Spencer Steer or Jose Barrero, seems pretty likely that one of those two guys won't be great this year. Like, if you're just doing simple probabilities, there's a spot. Other guy could get hurt. There's a spot. Outfielders could get hurt. Spencer Steer can play in the outfield. That's why I wouldn't worry about it too much at this point. We'll just have to kind of see, what these guys look like. But
he brings up Diaz
most
too.
of the time. Do you remember when?
Go ahead.
Do you remember when Mike Moustakas was coming back in 2021, and oh my gosh, you can't send India down to AAA? Where are we going to play this guy? And then Mike Moustakas played 5 games the rest of the year, and they were terrible. And Suarez never hit all year. And there was still a dead spot at third base all year. Most of the time, these things work themselves out.
He brings up Diaz. I think relievers are really you talk about a fickle bunch, man. It all depends on what you can get in return for Diaz. I mean, of course, if you're going to get a lot of good prospects back that you believe in, then I think, Kirby, you've brought this up before. You're also on the train that they're not, relievers aren't a dime a dozen. That's not what I'm trying to say. but they are very fickle to where if you got one that's really, really good, there's a good chance in 2 or 3 years they're not as good as they once were. Is that your philosophy as well, or no?
Yeah, but other GMs are smart enough to understand that too. So
Yeah, but but to your point, or here's to this point, GMs are smart enough, but there's always this really small window of time where you make out of body decisions that you otherwise wouldn't have made because you're trying to get your team over the hump to win the big one. That is the small minute time where you can quote unquote get crawled or fleece people like that. And then they've done it. Let's not act like they haven't done it.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be in a rush to trade Alexis Diaz, but am I listening to offers for him? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if someone's going to give me a Gleyber Torres type return like the Cubs got or the Yankees got when they traded for Aroldis Chapman, then yeah, I mean that's a piece that could really change the course here. And I know Gleyber Torres has kind of been up and down, but when he came up, he was a top of the top prospects, and he still has had a really nice career so far. I don't think the Yankees would probably wouldn't have done better than that, but that's the kind of thing I'm looking at.
I'm not much of a trade guy. And it sounds like I am because I've just saw yeah, I might trade him. That's just because that's where the Reds are. That's the position the Reds are in right now. I would like to think like if Diaz has another good year, and a lot of these guys are playing well, and the Reds are going to finish. And now this is being crazy, and I'm not even trying to say that I'm this optimistic. But if the Reds are going to finish close to 500 or something wild like that, and a lot of these guys are playing well, I start to like ask myself the question of who do I want to have on my roster next year so I can start to go after this thing. And I don't really like trading big league guys that have proven at the big league level for unproven talent. The only thing I bring up from time to time is just if you have a plethora of guys below them and you're not in your window anyways, then maybe it does make sense to trade guys you otherwise wouldn't have in the past, and you don't hold on to them for an extra year or two before it's too late like they've done in years past. But we've said this from time to time again on this show and going forward, the Reds have got to continue to make sure their farm system is as plentiful and as fruitful as we think it is now going forward. We can't sit here and mortgage our future for one or two guys again. And not saying that's what happened in the past. And hopefully we get lucky and we draft some guys that are really, really good. That'd be fun. So those are the opening day lineups. Let's just take some more questions here before we jump off here. I don't know what else we got, but
love the 5 steals from Benson from Brian.
He might turn out to be a good. I don't want to say steal, but wow. I mean,
I'm excited to watch him play. He's if I had to point to one guy on that lineup right there, Will Benson be the one guy I'm most excited about, mainly because we haven't seen him yet. We've seen everyone else. But Benson just has he's just a fun player, and he seems like a really easy guy to root for. Right. But yeah, I mean, he's got some real upside. I always get nervous though because the Guardians don't make many bad trades. So if Nick Kroll fleeced the Guardians, then he really did something right, because that team, man, if you look at some of the trades that they've made, like Corey Kluber, like when they got rid of him, the return they got for him and Clevenger, like it just trade after trade after trade, they've just they hit on. And most of their trades, like back to what you were just talking about, most of their trades were like good players, but they weren't like these game-changing players, and they were able to really maximize and capitalize on their value at the time.
Yeah. Fraley's another guy in the chat. AJ Wares brings up playing half his games in GAPP is big for him at the plate. Jake Fraley's a guy that I actually listened to him talk on Seho's Mental Game podcast, and the place that he was at to start the season last year was a really dark place for those that haven't listened to it. I mean, he was not in a good mental state. Started to figure it out, got himself back on track, and I think his play kind of showed that. And hopefully this year he finds himself in a position where, I don't know. Hopefully he finds himself in a position where he starts playing really, really well and he likes Cincinnati. That's the one cool thing that I've always taken away from guys that have played in Cincinnati is I haven't heard many guys say they don't like playing for the organization, right? Like, they hype up the fan base. And as much as I like to think we have an unbelievable fan base, there's times I've been disappointed in our fan base. But at the same time, I think that if we can get a competitive team, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to keep some of these guys because they want to stay in Cincinnati. Favorite Red of all time? Wow. I know this sounds terrible to say, but my favorite Red of all time, which isn't even favorite player, if I say
I want to
it,
say Aristides Aquino just to troll you.
No, I know that wouldn't be true.
Yeah, he's up there.
I
love
actually,
Aquino.
I'm gonna say.
I'm
gonna
talking
say
just
Scott
in
Rowland. I'm gonna say Scott Rowland, and
Oh, wow.
I know that's being honest though. Like I was dying so bad to find a winner, to want to root for a winner, and I'm not saying it was all because of Scott, but you watch Scott Rowland throughout his career, and you seen him play for the Cardinals, and I was like, this dude's just a gamer, man. Like he's just a gamer, and somehow freaking Cardinals always have these guys. And when he came over from Toronto, and I'm not saying he's the only reason they changed the culture, but it felt like he made a huge impact and they started winning games. And I was indebted or grateful for that to a certain extent. So that's my answer.
I would say probably Barry Larkin. I mean, that was like my favorite player growing up. I mean, it's an easy answer. He's in the Hall of
that's
Fame.
a cop-out answer. That's it. I'm kidding.
If you want me to go a little more out of the box, man, I love Deion Sanders when he played. I mean,
Willie Mopane, AJ Worse.
I was a big Adam Dunn fan. I loved Dunn's game. Just, easy guy to root for.
Greg Vaughn was fun. He was actually the first player I remember as a kid being like, he was pretty awesome. He's another guy that felt like all the guys I like, they come with winning, man. Part of winning. I don't know. Sean Casey, good pick. The mayor.
Shin-Soo Choo's a really underrated, sneaky one. In that one year, he was
he was.
He was an awesome player to watch.
Gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of fun. Felipe Lopez. You know who was the guy they had that played? This is where my memory's terrible. The shortstop that they had that they let go, they should have never let him go. He was a good little player. He didn't get to play every day, but when he played, he had good numbers. He played well. I'm gonna have to dig this up now. If you guys start firing him off in the chat.
Where did he go to?
Felipe Lopez. I know he went to Baltimore for a year.
Keppinger? Is that
no
Alex?
No, I'll figure it out. Give me a second.
All right.
You guys talk about something else.
Alex asked me a question. People are actually interested in knowing something about me. First person ever. But did you grow up in Cincinnati? Yes, I did. Born and raised in Cincinnati. Lived here till 2013. Lived in Cincinnati and then moved up to the Cleveland area. I graduated from Milford High School. So there you go, Alex.
Felipe Lopez.
Alex Gonzalez?
No, it wasn't Alex Gonzalez. I'm sorry, guys.
Paul Yanish.
No, I'm looking at all the shortstops. It's none of these guys.
I said Orioles. That's why I was.
Yeah, there was Yanish, Cabrera. Wasn't any of these guys. I'll dig it up. This might have to be a next show thing because I don't think this is common players that started at their positions via Baseball Reference. 1952. Who was the starting shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds? Any guesses in the chat without cheating? 1952.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
that'd be impressive.
2.3 WAR. 2.3 WAR.
That was big in 1952. They were big war people.
This guy had a career WAR of 25. No big deal.
Is this a shortstop you're talking about, or
Yeah.
you just finding a random shortstop from 1952?
Roy McMillan. No big deal. He was born on July 17th, 1929 from Boham, Texas. He is passed away.
Jose Peraza?
No, you guys are going to make me go crazy for not knowing this. I'm sorry. Sorry to the chat for getting us off topic.
What year did he play?
Maybe
now you got me.
Shortstop,
you got me
second
on
baseman,
this.
man.
What like time frame? Are we talking like Jerry Harrison Jr.?
No. Good guess, though.
Jose Iglesias?
No.
Ramon Santiago? Freddie Galvis?
Oh, definitely wasn't Freddie fucking Galvis.
Holbert Cabrera?
I feel like
Ivan De Jesus?
Now I'm getting myself
Juan
in a position
Castro?
where
Wilson Valdez? Ray Almeida?
Stop.
Going down the whole list here.
Stop. Maybe I've just forgotten the guy's name at this point, and
He was actually a catcher.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't
Got me on this
shock me.
wild.
Wouldn't
Got me on
shock
this
me,
wild
man.
goose chase.
3 kids later.
I literally listed off, I think,
I
every
know you
shortstop
did.
that has
I feel
100 plate appearances since 2003.
Stop. I'm making myself like go crazy at this point. Maybe I'm just lost it, dude.
The people loved Juan Castro, though. Alex says he was all about Juan Castro. Carrick said, I don't. Carrick brought up a good point. I don't see Newman on your lineups. I think Kevin Newman will probably play a lot. I just don't think he's going to be like the first guy playing. I think they'll get him into the lineup. I think they like his defense. I think they like that he maybe puts a little bit of pressure on Jose Barrero to, perform. Rich Aurelia,
Rich Aurelia is a great player. I think I figured it out. Just give me a minute to make sure.
Now I'm locked in now. I mean, I'm all about it.
I got to make sure that I'm going to say that out loud if he played well or not. This is just like I went to one game back when I was in high school or something, and he played really, really well, and I just was like, oh, yeah, he's a good player, and then I look at him, he's terrible.
He played 2 career games.
Right.
Played the game of his life for Trace.
Good. Not looking good for who I think it is either.
Willie Green was like that kind of guy for me. You know who was a guy that really, when I started getting into like more stats and evaluation of players, a guy growing up that I thought was like the greatest hitter of all time was Lenny Harris. Don't ever like look up his like baseball reference page, because you'll be extremely disappointed.
Hold on, I think I got it. Let me see what he did for the Reds.
I hope it's Dilson Herrera. I think we're a little bit older than that though.
Hold on.
Dilson. Have you got Tom to say that on off the bench yet?
What's he going? What do you want me to say?
You know when Dilson Herrera had like his one moment with the Reds and he did Dilson. You got to get him to say that.
Okay. No, I don't. I don't. All right, you ready for it? You ready for it?
I'm ready. Should I do a drum roll?
Yeah, you can do a drum roll. Have you guys in the chat even said this guy's name? Jose Iglesias.
I said Jose Iglesias.
When
I went through the list.
Well, it's too many. Like too many at one time.
Oh,
what happened with him?
He's a guy that I think no one thinks is as good. No one that pays people thinks is as good as everyone else does.
Oh, really?
He keeps getting like short minor league deals or like really small contracts. He was he was pretty bad the last 2 years.
I guess
90 WRC plus and 85 WRC plus the last 2 years. But 2020, I mean, that was a short year. He was like really, really good. Yeah, he's pretty bad defensively. He had like a couple good years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where the metrics. That's where the analytics. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that you're going to tell me. If you're going to sit here and look me in my eye and say he was a bad fielder, and he hit.
Oh no!
This
I'm
is
not
where
saying bad fielder.
This is where
I'm saying hitter.
Yeah, we picked Freddie Galvis. What a disgusting mess that guy was. Brother. My son still remembers Freddie Galvis, and the only reason he remembers him because there was a game in which he made an error because he was just trying to be a little fancy, and I'm all about glamour, glitz and glamour. I'm all about being fancy, but he made an error to get the last out of an inning, and I think he was just trying to flip the ball with his glove or some stupid shit, and he didn't get the out, and I at that point decided in my mind that he was my least favorite Reds player until he left. And my son still remembers me yelling about it, so that's here nor there. It's the fun story of the night. What else we got? Other than we got March Madness. For those that don't know, if you live in Cincinnati, we will be out at Wings and Rings tomorrow from 11 to 5. And Kirby is so well prepared. Now, as far as the graphic goes, it's not all in there because the graphic package isn't the best. But I will say the fact that you had that ready to go is very impressive, Kirby. So shout out, kudos to you. Free rounds on us with any over. So I don't know if you're not a gambling person, that's fine. But if an over hits while we're there, Chatterbox is going to get you a beverage, and it doesn't need to be an alcoholic beverage. Okay, we can buy a Coke, Pepsi, whatever products they have, Sprite. Well, what kind of soda do you go with, Kurt? Are you a soda guy? Do you Coke, Pepsi, Sprite, Mountain Dew? Don't say serious.
I only do zero stuff. I got on the keto, and now I can't I can't have sugar. Like it makes me sick. So
gotcha. So it's
Coke
a sugar
Zero, thing. Coke Zero, Pepsi Max.
Okay.
Mostly.
I judge
Mountain Dew Zero if I'm living.
I judge diet drinkers, and I don't know why I do it, but I just do it because it's almost like it reminds me of like going to the store and getting diet ice cream. It's like if we're trying to be healthy, then let's just be healthy. If we're trying to live like a slob like I do, then let's just live like a slob. Get you a nice Coke, a Diet Coke. Now, to be fair, I've never really had Diet Coke a bunch because I think it tastes weird, but it's here nor there.
No, I mean, to be honest, it's not to get on a whole Diet Coke thing, which is wild. Didn't expect that on this show tonight, but you never know what you'll get when you tune into Chatterbox Reds. I'll make a whole graphic. But no, seriously, once you start, you can't go back. Like I've tried it. It makes me sick.
You know what else they say that about?
Even a mixed drink, like it makes.
You know what else they say that about? Don't you, Kirby? Basketball. You watch March Madness, and you're not going to want to watch any more World Baseball Classic.
I got both on right now.
What did you think I was going to say, Kirby?
I have no idea. We're pushing 11. You never know what'll happen. I'm excited for these West Coast games.
Christian Colon is the bestest Reds player to play.
Evan is trolling. Christian Colon really pushed my buttons in 2020 because I have no idea why they kept giving that dude at bat after at bat after at bat. Evan's trolling. I mean, it was a good troll. I gotta hand it to Evan. He's an elite troller. AJ wants to know what's our best bet tomorrow. If you're not on the Discord, make sure you're on there because I posted all of mine. So I got to pull up the Discord to see what I put. But I think San Diego State. Tomorrow. San Diego State was my best bet. I got one that I know is really going to be a hater. I don't know if I want to say it on here.
What?
I got one bet that's really going to get a bad response tomorrow.
If it wins, it can't get a bet.
Houston minus 19.5. Yeah.
You like that a lot.
I don't like it. I don't want that to happen. Well, I mean, I do now that I put money on it, but
why do you think that?
I just you looked at the number. Houston's a team that I think Houston's a little overrated, but they just dominate mid-major competition. Like if you look at like what they've done, not just this year but years past, they really. I think it's going to be ugly. I'm sorry, Norse fans. If
Log it
you don't
in.
cover the, if you're gonna not lose by 20, I hope you win. So I'll give you that.
I am going to. I'm logging into something right now. That's going to give us. It's going to give us a good idea on what we should probably put our hard-earned money on tomorrow. The game I'm looking most forward to is the Drake Miami game, which I don't know. Is that tomorrow or is that Friday?
That is Friday night.
I'm curious to see that game. All right, here we go. This is just what we like to call the system.
All right.
And the system, wow, there's a lot. I like Utah State a lot. And I think I like, I know this doesn't sound too confident. You don't like Utah State?
What's the line? I got Missouri +2, but I think I got that really early before it went down.
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I love a pick and tell you that you're in good hands at +2 when I like it at +1. Utah State's giving a point. So I don't know.
Utah State -1.
Utah State -1.
Uh,
You like Missouri?
That's what my system says.
Oh, you got a system. We got a bunch of systems. It's like a computer war. It's what I imagine Major League Baseball was like 7 years ago. It's just like who has
Battle
the
of
best,
the nerds.
Who has the best system?
All right, what's the other play?
Diaz, Sims, San Martin, Young, Farmer, Bolt +2, Cruz. What are we talking about here? Garrett,
That's the bullpen. I think someone might have asked
Gotcha.
what the bullpen looks like. I think Carrick nailed it. I think Cruz is a lock though. I would put Cruz actually as I think pretty close to a lock. And then I mean I think I hate to say it, but I think it's gonna be Hunter Strickland is gonna be the last one, which is gonna make everyone lose their ever-loving minds. But David Bell loves Hunter Strickland. I don't really get it. I mean, I think it's more of just like he's a dude that they can throw out whenever. I don't agree with it. I'd rather them give it to anyone else, but I'm just telling you. I think.
So let's have a little bit of fun. It is
chance.
March Madness. We're getting ready to get off here. When everyone wakes up tomorrow, it is going to be nothing but basketball, and we'll end this show with the Reds because that's why we got on here in the first place. However, Reed brought up a question the other day that there was a line that came out that said, would you take, it was even money, over under seed line 6.5 to make the Final Four. I think you needed to have one team make the Final Four. Over or under 6.5. That's
so essentially I need 7 seed or
better.
Worse to make the Final Four.
Yes. You
I
need
mean,
one 7 seed or worse to make the Final Four. If you take the under, then that means that you can't have that. What do you think, Chat? What do you think, Chat?
Is that an actual bet? Because that's a fun bet.
It's an actual bet.
On Betfred Sportsbook?
Betfred Sportsbook.
Ooh. I would probably go the under. I don't know. I feel like college basketball has been so wide open this year that you should go with the over. But I feel like I'd be over doing that. Kind of like a lot of other people, like, you love a line and it gets oversold. Like, I know, like Tennessee tomorrow. Everyone's like, oh, Tennessee's got a guy hurt. And everyone's like, oh, we need to go with the other team. It's like, yeah, you know what? Actually, there's still a lot of value in Tennessee.
So I think he made the point that, and I think it was, don't hold me to this, I know that I should probably not spew this if it wasn't 100% accurate, but 7 of the last 10 years, it's been over.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
I just can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, maybe there's one team that but here's the problem with what I'm saying is you'll never see a Loyola Chicago. You'll never see a George Mason. You're not going to see these teams. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get why that's a fun bet, and I mean I think it's close either way, but yeah, I have no idea what team it would be. I don't know. I mean, it does feel like the one seeds are very vulnerable. So I don't know, one of those like 8-9s kind of sneak through.
Right.
I
All right.
don't know.
Let's finish the here. We'll cut back to our double screen. Get rid of our lineup card there. Hey boy.
Oh.
Get rid of you'll get it. That boy Kirby. All right, so one final question to end the night. Who wants to ask it? Who wants to or a topic? We could talk about a topic. One final Reds topic to end the night. Make it fun. Somebody in the chat is going to throw it out there. We're going to run with it.
Anyone still watching?
We got 18, which is actually a lot for 11 o'clock on a what is today? Wednesday? Pretty impressive. Shout out to you, all of you that are watching, and some other places too. I can't keep up with all the places. I look at the YouTube numbers, not all the other places. Kirby, you got something you want to talk about since chat's silent?
Oh man.
No.
Here we go. Thank you, Reese, for saving us.
Saving the day.
With the future of prospect, could you see this movie already with India? Reese, that's a good question.
We went through that already. I hate it. We
Yeah,
both said maybe. Long story short, we said maybe.
It had to be and I think Trace summed it up best, that it had to be the perfect storm. But go back, that's about, I don't know, what, 30 minutes into this. All right, Carrick asked, and now we're getting a whole bunch of questions. Now we're going to be on here forever. No, we love it. Will the Reds still be going with 3 catchers by the All-Star break? I would say no, because someone's going to get hurt.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I don't like to be the...
What an optimistic viewpoint that is.
I mean, how often do catchers get hurt? Like, the Reds went through like 18 catchers last year.
I don't know. They don't.
If you could add one thing to GAPP, what would it be? I'd turn the stadium around and have it face the skyline. That'd be cool.
That's right. So I ran this outro music to make sure we got off of here so we can go to bed and make sure we get our night's rest and we come back better than ever tomorrow. We will be doing these again, to be clear, after every single Reds game. Right here live on YouTube. If you have not, please go download the podcast, Chatterbox Reds. Nick has one up pretty much every single damn day, even weekends. I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep that going, but we'll see. Please do me another favor. Rate it, give it a review, a nice kind review, and share it with one other person if they have not known us yet. Something you can get in the morning with your morning cup of coffee, and it's there every single day. But until then, take care of yourselves. Enjoy. Rest up. Hopefully we see you tomorrow at Wings and Rings. And if not, you can watch us on YouTube. And best of luck gambling. And enjoy yourselves watching nothing but college basketball. Take care, everybody.